Take 3. So in this video we're going to see whether the £6 batch of Minidiscs I bought in an earlier video and this £4 Minidisc player can help us get a start in Minidiscs. So if you're starting afresh, I've screwed up the earlier part of the video, so this has already been cut open, but I've not taken this out yet. So I looked at this listing. I think that's all that's in the box. Let me check. Yeah, that's all that's in the box. This listing, I had an eye on it. They were selling this as untested. Now normally that means on eBay, if it's untested, it means it's not working. Probably means they've actually tested it. But it wouldn't surprise me looking at the listing. I don't think these people are professional resellers of anything. They probably found this stock somewhere. There wasn't a great photo. Anyway, it was up for auction, and the starting bid was £4, and that's what I put in there. And I don't care that it's cracked. It's actually quite a bad crack. Because the reason I was interested in this particular player is I've got this one, which is the same, which also has a crack part way across it. And this is what I called my Panto player, and this was in a video that I did before. And I love the colour of this player, and it wasn't working when I bought it, and I managed to fix it, and then I was a bit over enthusiastic when my cleaning, and I broke it again. So I fixed it and broke it all in the same video. And you can check out the video, but the lens, there's a link to the video in the description box. But this lens here is mounted on 2 tiny pieces of copper, I think, and I broke one of those. It's the first time I heard the comment that you cleaned it to death. But what I wanted to do was get the innards from one of these mini discs and put this cover on it, because I absolutely love this colour scheme. And there's a VW camper van I saw at a classic car show once, the same colour scheme, and I'd like that, but I'll have to settle with a mini disc player because it's a bit cheaper. So I've already tried to take this to pieces to see whether I can easily swap the covers over, but I managed to strip a screw out, so I'll have to do that in another video, trying to get that stripped screw out. Anyway, back to this one. So this one was listed as untested, so let's have a quick look around it. It feels slightly greasy, to be honest. Someone sat on it, probably. It's not MDLP, which is a shame, so it doesn't do long play discs. Don't know whether you'll be able to see inside that. It looks pretty dusty. Now, the position of that head on this side of the player instead of this side of the player means that the power was disconnected, or the disc was taken out before it had returned to its home position. When you stop a mini disc, the head moves back over to this position. So either someone sat on it and it broke in that position, or they ran out of battery and it stayed in that position, or they just opened it, took the disc out and then took the battery out. Now I suspect, it's in a bit of a state, but never mind. I suspect, and there is evidence as well, that this battery in here is leaked. So what we've got is that discoloration of the metal. I think this is metal. That discoloration of the metal means that the battery inside has leaked. It's got low, and if a flat battery is left there, it discharges and then leaks its contents on the inside of the player. So that's probably why they haven't tested it. That and the fact they probably don't have a battery. Oh, look at the state of that. I'm not sure you can see it. That is faded there. There we go, that's better. So that's silver. This is now white, where the paint has been degraded on that plastic. It's a plastic mid chassis, I think. So let's see if we can get it out. And it's a good sign that this has leaked, because that's probably why it's not playing. Oh, there's no battery in there. But it is a bit of a state. But we can clean that up, and I'll probably do that in another video. I don't know, maybe I'll do it in this one. So let me just get a spare battery. Oh, don't even have to go anywhere because I've got this one on my desk. And that's fully charged, I hope. So let's pop that in there. I don't expect this to work. So let's find the play button. Must be there. Nothing at all. Should we have a go at cleaning it and see if that will work? Yeah, let's do that. Let's get all my stuff out. Right, so I think I've got everything I need. I've got some white spirit vinegar and a little pot to put some in. Now, if you've been watching other people's Minidisc, oh, I haven't got any cotton buds. Back in a minute. Yeah, so if you've watched any of my other videos that I've cleaned up battery corrosion, you'll know that you can use spirit vinegar, that's white vinegar, or you can use lemon juice or anything citrus or anything acidic really, because this corrosion is caused by the alkaline in the battery leaking out and causing corrosion, and anything acidic will neutralize that corrosion. Sorry, it will neutralize the alkaline and therefore help you remove it. So you can see it's already coming off on the Q-tip on the cotton bud, but you need to put quite a bit of it on, and you can't use malt vinegar because that's got too many additives in it, and that's the reason I like using fruit juice, because it hasn't just got fruit juice, it's got all sorts of, it has not just acidic, it's got all sorts of other stuff in it. I don't know whether you can see that fizzing up. What we should do first, I think, is get our old toothbrush, this is what I use for general cleaning, and just try and scrape some of it off. Now it'll all be underneath on the plastic, so I'm actually going to take the plastic off. Let's grab a tissue, because I don't want to be putting this vinegar on the varnish on my desk, even though the desk is old. Now I can't remember which of these. I'm zoomed in at 2 times on the video, that's why we get quite a lot of camera shake. It's on a tripod, but it's my hands that are moving around. It's not that one, is it? It's that one there. So there's some little clips, and it's hard to do with the camera in the way. These little clips, one of these you lift up, and then, I can't remember which one it is, and then the plastic part slides off the metal part. Which is very hard to do and keep it in shot. I don't think it's that one. It must be that one, I reckon. Yeah, I think it's just stiff. Right, so let's have a close look at this. Oh mind, I've done so many of these in the past. What I think it is, as I move that across, you can see a little ledge just there on the plastic, underneath that little battery contact. And I think it's getting caught just on this bit here. So I can't really do this on camera, so I'm going to try and do it off camera. Okay, I did it. Right, I don't know whether you can see, there's a tiny little raised bit there. Just there. And that bit, unfortunately, is covered in corrosion. There's a tiny little bit there, just at the end of the screwdriver there, which it's got corrosion on it, so it's hard to see, but it's been punched down, and that gets caught on one of these plastic, I think it's that one there. So you can see why all this corrosion here is you need to get this out, because if you leave it in there, it will further corrode the contacts. So that's why you really need to take the battery cover off. So basically, once you've unclipped it, it just slides off like that. So let's give that a bit of a squirt with some neat vinegar. Oh, you've got it all over the place. I'm only scraping this downwards. If I scraped it upwards, I'd be spraying vinegar in my eyes, which is not good. So that's, oh, you can't even see it, can you? There we go. So that's a lot cleaner, but we haven't finished with that, because we've got to clean off the vinegar with some IPA, some isopropyl alcohol. So I wouldn't bother with the vinegar first of all. Take it off properly, because look at the state of that hinge as well. You've got to get all that stuff off that hinge. It's even inside. How bad is it inside? Let's have a look. Not too bad. So that can leak down onto all of the circuitry inside as well and make a right mess of the player. I've had it on chips. There was one player that was so badly corroded. Try and get in shot. It leaked so far in. It was all over the circuit board and it was all over the chip as well. And it might have been this player actually. So I'll try and find out what video that was, and I'll put I'll put a link to it in the video description basically. And that's looking not too bad at the moment. Still a bit on there. I'm not too worried at this stage because I've got to take the back off of this and the front off to transplant the insides into this player. But for the purposes of this video, I want to see whether I can actually get a player and some mini discs for less than £10. The only problem is this one didn't come with the battery. And even though the battery had leaked quite badly, it might have been possible to recover the battery. I've had batteries that have leaked. Original Sony batteries that have leaked inside there, and once I've cleaned them up and put them in a charger, they actually do charge and they last for a relatively long period of time. So now we've got vinegar all over the place on this player. Not an ideal job, but if I do try and transplant the inside into the other box, the other shell, then I'll be cleaning it a little bit better. So what else you're going to need, if you don't know if you can see that, probably not, is some IPA. I like the one with the pump action top on it, but you don't have to get it like that. It's fairly cheap. There'll be a link to that on Amazon as well. There'll be a link to that in the description. Now I don't mind if this gets up inside the player. I don't want it dripping up there. It's going all over the place. But I'm going to give it a good douse because I want this to clean it off. So this IPA will clean off the vinegar or whatever you've used, because you don't want any of it left on the player ideally. I've got my tissue stuck on it now. Now the key is, I think, on this is to wait. There's still a fair amount of corrosion on that, isn't there? Don't know if you can see that just at the end of my thumb there on the hinge, and that will affect the conductivity. So that hinge just wraps around a post, and that post runs down inside the player in there and conducts electricity from this. So it's not a perfect job, but it's going to be good enough. I'm just going to get one of my favourite tools is actually a letter opener. I can feel that IPA evaporating off my fingers now. I'm just going to give that a scrape. You can see it all falling on my desk. That will do for the time being, I think. Let's move on. Let's see if we've got this working again. And my hands are all wet. Right, so let's see if we revive this. Where's my battery? I'm not going to put the cover back on. I'm just going to hold this on. I did this once and it was arcing against the battery and heated up my finger quite badly. So is that going to work? Oh no, I don't think it is. Oh, I heard it move. There we go, it's moving. There's no disc in it though. Oh, it's on hold. Where's the hold button? That'll be around there. Let's grab a disc. So before I put that disc in, I'm just going to replace the battery cover, which I'm also going to give a good spray of with the IPA, just to wash off the vinegar that was on there. I'm going to clean it up on a bit of tissue. Oh god, it stinks, that stuff. Ideally do it with the window open. Don't breathe in the fumes from the alcohol. Now I would leave it longer than this if I were you doing it. I would leave it longer than this to fully evaporate. And then it just slides back on. Let me see if I can show you there. slides back on. There you go. And that little spike there, I don't know whether you can see it. That is what makes contact. That bit there in the middle is what makes contact with the battery. So that's on there nicely. We'll pop the battery in, close the lid. Let's zoom out a bit so you can see what's going on. I've got this hooked up to my amplifier, but the cable's not very long. There we go, so we can put that in the headphone socket. And press a disc. Putting a disc in will make it sound much better. That's quite stiff as well. The moment of truth. Is it going to be loud? Oh, it should be alright. Oh, it's still on hold. Oh, it's still on hold. This is not good then. So what I think might have happened here, it thinks it's still on hold. So what I suspect has happened is someone's had the back of this off to clean it up, and when they've put the back on again, they haven't had the hole inside on the circuit board. There's a little switch that moves backwards and forwards, and this fits onto it, and I think they've probably broken it off. So the whole button isn't working, but I have a workaround for that. Let me just get a remote control. Let's move that out of the way. Right, so that's the remote that will work with this unit, I think. So that goes in there. And before I plug it back in, let's see if it's going to work. Brilliant. So the hold on the unit only affects the buttons on the unit. The hold on here only affects the hold on the buttons on this. So it's talk reading. Look at that, it's working. So let's plug the headphones in. Try some volume. Oh, my amp, hang on a second. There we go. My amp requires a little tap on the top to get it to work sometimes. There you go, a working player. Brilliant. So there's proof. It's a shame the battery wasn't in this. I'll be back in a tick. Yeah, so these batteries were, one of these, I can't remember which, was in a dead Minidisc player because the corrosion had killed the Minidisc player, and I got the Minidisc revived, and I'm not sure which battery it was, just scraped off the corrosion, give it a clean up, and then the battery still does work. These were somewhere between 1990 and 2000 roughly, and it's 2022 now, so these batteries are 20 years old, and is that right? Could be 30 years old. That can't be right, surely. Yep, doesn't time fly. Right, so plans for this player are, I'm going to try in another video to get the screw that I've got rounded off the head in there. I've tried super gluing it, and I've tried lots of different things. I was going to have to drill it out, but I've got one more thing I can try. So I'm going to try and get the case off of this, because I want this case on this player. And the problem is the hold button's not working on this, but I know that if I take the bottom off, I'll just be able to move the little plastic button that's underneath this across, and that will take the hold off. And then essentially we've got a working Minidisc player. Even if you weren't transplanting the case, you could take the bottom of this off, manually move the little switch inside to remove the hold, and then you've got a working Minidisc player for £4, incredibly. You would have to pay £6 for a new battery. I'll put a link to those in the description box. There's an eBay one. And I paid £6 for 6 discs, including one which is quite unusual. and including a disc cleaner. So a shame about the battery, because otherwise it'd be 10 quid. That's the cheapest I've seen a working setup for. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling now. A future video, I'm going to be trying to transplant the guts of this into the shell of this to get, because I really love the design on this one. So thanks for watching. Check out the links in the description for other videos which are related to this video, and also my Patreon page. So if you can support me on Patreon, you'll get early access to most of my videos as well. So thanks very much, and I'll see you in the next video.